Turning now to the deadly mass shooting at a Michigan school in 2021. It was day 2 of a Miller hearing for 16-year-old Ethan Crumbley. It's a hearing that prevents minors from being automatically sentenced to life in prison, which would have been the case here had he not been a minor. Well, Crumbley has asked the judge to take life without parole off the table. Well, he pleaded guilty earlier this year to killing 4 students and wounding 7 others at Oxford High School in November of 2021. Now, before the judge makes a decision on Crumbley's request, he has been listening to testimony from a number of witnesses. Well, today, the assistant principal at Oxford High School testified that she walked right up to Ethan Crumbley on the day of the shooting.
I could smell what I called cap gun. I didn't know it to be gunpowder. I got on the walkie and I said to them that I heard some shots, and then shortly after I said that I could smell what smelled like cap gun.
Was anyone responding to you?
Kurt Noose responded to me first and asked where I was.
What did you say?
I said I'm in the 200 hallway. He said that's a very big hallway, and I think he needed more direction. And so I let him know I was by the 400 hallway.
So is that dot right there about where you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And what could you see at that point?
When I turned the corner, I could see a student walking towards me.
You turned which corner?
I turned the corner and went to what would be my left, and
Okay.
You're right on this.
Okay, so
Yes.
you saw somebody right there?
Yeah.
Or way
down the hallway.
hall.
Yeah, down the hallway.
And can you move it down? About where?
Probably by 218, room 218.
Okay. Did you recognize who the student was?
Not at that point, no.
Can you describe the student? What did you see at that point?
I saw a student putting his arm down.
Down from like a shoulder length height
Yeah.
position?
Yes. And then
What was the student wearing? Light clothes, dark clothes?
a hoodie. A hood was up. We were all in masks at that time. The hood was long, kind of down like around the knuckles, so I only could see a little bit of the gun.
So you could see a gun.
Yes.
And what did you do?
I got on the walkie and said that I have eyes on the shooter.
And then did someone respond to you?
I don't know. I don't remember. They probably did.
Okay. What did you do?
I kept walking towards him.
Okay. I have to ask, why did you walk towards the shooter?
I needed to help.
Okay. And what did you see?
There was a student on the ground.
Laying on the ground? Okay. And is that red dot about where that student was?
Yes.
Did you know who the student was?
Not at the time, no.
So what did you do?
So there was a garbage can between me and the student. And I moved the garbage can out of the way.
And at this point, where is the person with the gun?
Just up ahead a little bit,
Was he walking towards you or walking away?
walking towards me.
At some point, did he pass by you?
When he got closer, I realized it was Ethan. And I just thought, it couldn't be Ethan. He wouldn't do that. And so I talked to him.
What did you say?
I said, "Are you okay? And what's going on?"
At this point, were you processing that he had used the gun and shot other people or could have?
Initially, I thought there's no way it could be him. So I didn't know if maybe he recovered it. And so that's why I talked to him.
I mean, picked it up off the ground. Okay, when he was close enough to see who he was, what Can you describe what his demeanor was?
When I started talking to him, he looked away from me, but kept walking. He just walked past me.
Was he walking in a frantic, panicked way?
He was very calm.
Did he speak to you?
He didn't speak to me, and that's when I figured something was really wrong, because I feel like he would have told me what was going on.
He walked past you, correct?
He walked past me.
Did he point the gun at you?
Not that I saw.
Okay. What did you do when he walked past you?
I turned to walk with him for a second, and that's when I was talking to him. And then I had to get back to the student who was on the ground. Because,
that was your focus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Some tough testimony today. Joining me this hour, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Franz Borghardt. Franz, great to see you. Always a pleasure to have you here on Fridays with Franz. No question about it. I want to get your thoughts on this one. This one has me, you know, this is one of those tough ones, right? This kid is 15 years old when he commits this crime. I think this says a lot about who we want to be as a society. There's no question this was a horrible, horrible crime. Some terrible, tough testimony to listen to today, but just your general thoughts.
So we have a law, and it's a good law, that when a juvenile commits a murder or multiple murders, we have to make a determination. The judge has to make a determination on whether or not the defendant is going to be parole eligible, Michael. And that gives the judge a wide berth of discretion on determining, hey, are we going to put this kid away forever? Are we going to put this kid away in such a way that he has an ability to someday, after maybe 20 years, 30 years, walk out of prison one day? And this idea is based on, or this law is based on the idea that as he sits in the courtroom right now, Michael, at 15 years old, he is not fully developed. He is not an adult. He is, you know, and the United States Supreme Court has made this plain, right? So this is a tough call, because at the end of the day, do we believe in a system where he can rehabilitate, where he can become something different than what he is? Or do we believe that at 15, this is who he is, this is who he always is, and he never needs to be paroled out? This is a tough job for a judge, and I don't envy the judge's job on this one.
Yeah, I don't envy the fact that this even exists to put this in the hands of a judge. I mean, this is an awesome decision. I mean, you got a 15-year-old, and obviously there are things working in favor of suggesting that obviously at 15 there's some opportunity for redemption on some level for a young person. And again, that goes back to the question of what type of society do we want to be? It's the reason, Franz, we don't have victims and their families or those affected by these crimes standing in judgment of these people. We understand that the pain, nothing can replace it. No one can really, truly relate to it. But at the end of the day, we have to look at this sort of objectively and stand back. And so I say to you, when you look at the fact that he's 15, you look at the fact that he had mental health issues, and he actually lamented the fact that no one was helping him with his issues, and the state is prosecuting his parents for not helping him. All those things to me suggest that, you know, they want their cake and eat it too here.
So I think this is a defendant, this is a young man who's going to go to jail for the foreseeable future. Now, is that 20 years? Is that 30 years? I do think the judge will say that he is parole eligible at some point, Michael, but I've said that from day one, is how are you prosecuting the parents for what they are prosecuting the parents for, while simultaneously saying it's entirely his fault that this happened, and you know we should throw the book at him and put him under the jail. I think it's a contradiction of thoughts, but at the end of the day, I do think he will be in jail for an extended period of time, Michael.
And he should be. I'm not saying that that's
right.
not the case. And let's not forget, he's 16 and he's going to be in adult jail. So that alone too is an issue. All right.